Well, howdy everybody. I'm Louise Cohen. I'm a native of Hilton Head Island, and I'm a member of the 5th generation of my family. I would like to welcome you today to the Gullah Museum site. This is Hilton Head Island, Gullah Geechee, cultural heritage, educational site, and it's all that. We are located here at 12 Georgiana Drive, and of course we are on Gumtree Road. And I want to tell you about this site because it is so very important to me. In fact, it's important to all the natives of Hilton Head Island because where we reside today are on the land that our ancestors purchased after the Civil War. And I'm just so grateful to my great-grandfather, William Simmons. His name is on our historic marker on the site that tells about him. And why is he so important to me? Because if he didn't have a plan, okay, goal where he would want to become a landowner on Hilton Head Island so he could have something to leave to his descendants, then we would not be living on this land today. If we were living on it, then definitely we would have to run our hands in our pocket and purchase the land. But we are grateful to our ancestors for what they did because they want to be landowners after the Civil War. They were given that opportunity, and you know, the majority of them escaped from plantations from the mainland and came to Hilton Head so they could be free. Well, my great-great-grandfather and great-grandfather was among the people. Okay, so they went through the Mitchellville Experience, which probably lasts about 3 years. And after that, well, when the Union troops left, then these people were left on their own to defend for themselves. I'm just so grateful that they were given an opportunity to purchase land because a lot of times we read about the 40 acres and a mule, but that did not happen on Hilton Head Island. So our people purchased the land, and you might wonder, well, where did they get the money back in the day to purchase the land? Well, as I've read my great-grandfather's deposition, he said he was paid $13 a month, and that was his pay for being with the Union Army. So they saved their money, and of course they farmed the land and they sold the produce. So you do what you have to do when you have a goal in mind. So anyway, thank God that he purchased this land, and this is where he put his stake down after the Civil War. So here we are today, still here on what I call historic grounds. So we are at 12 Georgiana Drive, and this little blue house that you see is my uncle's house, okay? It's only 3 rooms, and back in the day, this is how the people's house was built, mostly A-frame or flat roof. This is an A-frame house, and in the house you would find a kitchen. You would find the first room that you walk into. Today you call it living room. We call it the front room, okay? And a bedroom, and that was it. Now, people who had children, well, as the children came into the family, they would add rooms on. That did not happen in this case because my uncle was not married and he did not have any children. So what you see here today is the way this house was built 91 years ago, okay? So what I want to do is share with you what brought us this far. So, and so I actually brought some items out of the house to share with you. Well, we had a kitchen because you know we had to eat. So I brought some food out. How we preserve our food back in the day was in jars. So on the banister, you will see a jar of okra and tomatoes because okra, tomatoes, corn, peas and beans, watermelon and stuff like that, those was the main crop, okay? So there was no refrigeration back in the day. Our people preserved their food in jars, okay? Now you call it canning, we say jarring because the food was preserved in the jar. So you see a jar of okra and tomatoes, and that will make some good old soup. They raise hogs and and cows, so they could put some pork in it or beef, whatever they wanted, or they didn't have to put anything at all in it if they did not want to, okay? But the land and the creek is really how we survive here on Hilton Head. And I also put a jar of pear on the banister as well, because that would be the dessert to go with the bread. Okay. Now I did mention us living off the rivers and the sea. So you see a battle there, and this is a replica of the battle, which is a handmade flat bottom boat that our people built back in the day. And we do have one on the site, and when we reopen, well, of course you're going to get to really see more of that. But that was the main transportation for our people to really bring us from the mainland to the islands. Okay, so the battle is very, very important to us. And the other thing is our people were skilled. So they brought all these skills with them, how to make baskets and how to build battles, how to make cast net and all those things. They brought that from Africa with them. Now, since we're talking about the kitchen, let me go a little bit further and just tell you today you have all the good modern convenience. Our people did not have that back in the day, okay? So to wash our pots and pans and dishes after we ate, we use what they call the dish pan, okay? So this is how we wash our dishes back in the day. So I guess you can imagine how different things are now that you can just go to your sink and wash your dishes. Okay, now, speaking about the creek, I have a cast net there for you. And the cast net is what they used back in the day. We didn't have all the fancy reel and rods that you have now. We had the cast net. So they would take their battles and go in the creek, and they would cast and bring up all kind of fish, shrimp, and all those things. We had quite a variety of fish here in our waters, and you will still find a lot of those fish today. Okay, and not only did the cast net help put foods on our table, but the battles were used to go out in the creek and gather oysters, because that was one of the way of life here, how people made money by going to the oyster factory and shucking oysters. The men went out there and picked the oysters. The women opened the oysters, is what we call shucking, okay? And at the end of the week, the oysters were sold, and the money was divided between the oyster picker, that's the guys who went out in the creek and brought the oysters back to the factory for the women to shuck. So the money was divided between the two, and that's how our people made money. So we got a lot more to tell you as time go on, and you get to visit the Gullah Museum site. You're going to get to see the actual knife and hammer that Mama, the lady that raised me from 9 months old, that she used. I have all those things to share with you, okay? So living in these houses back in the day, we did not have the modern convenience to keep the house warm, like all the nice heaters and electric heaters and space heaters and all these things that we have today. So in order for us to keep warm, our people made quilts. So we did not throw away a lot of things. We recycle things, even our clothes. So when you look at our handmade quilt, we call it the patchwork quilt. Well, you're going to see a lot of different pieces of garments on here. You might see a piece of grandmama's apron, probably a piece of granddaddy's shirt, or even your dad's shirt. So you're going to see everybody, probably a piece of your dress or your shirt or your pants. So a piece of everybody's clothes will go to make the quilt to keep us warm. So we have quite a story to tell, and so what I'm doing is sharing with you, and I'm walking back in time with you, because you wasn't back in that time. I wasn't back in the time either. I was at some of the time, but not all of the time. But I do have artifacts that were passed down to me to help me remember those days, and because of that, I can share it with you. You also see an oil lamp there. That oil lamp provided light for us in our houses before Pal made electric cream, where you could flip the switch and you had light, okay? The foot tub that you see right here is the tub that our people use. This foot tub had a lot to do. The foot tub was taken to the creek along with the net. So when they caught fish and crabs and stuff, they needed something to put it in to bring it home. So the foot tub was used for that purpose. And not only was the foot tub used for that, but the foot tub was also used to help us carry water from the pump shelf. Now the pump shelf is where the hand pump was, and that's how we got water, okay? We did not have the running water where we could turn the spigot on, the faucet on, and the water came out. We had to pump the water. So when we open, I hope you would get to see an actual hand pump and probably get to pump water as well. So the foot tub then was used to help us carry water from the pump to wherever we were washing our clothes, okay? You see the washboard there. I brought the washboard out so you could see we did not have the regular wash machines that we have today. We had to put the clothes in a larger tub, just a metal tub, just like this foot tub, and then that's how we wash our clothes. That washboard there was what we had to do to get the dirt out the clothes. We had to use some strength. I mean, some physical work went into cleaning our clothes. So that's the purpose of the washboard. So you're probably wondering, because of that time, we did not have doctors on the island. If a mother was going to give birth to a baby, we had midwives here to deliver the baby. And so you probably say, well, how did you all make it then, like going to the doctor? So if there was a problem and you had to go to the doctor, then you were taken to Savannah, Georgia by boat. But for a lot of the everyday ailments, our people knew exactly what to use to heal the problem, whatever that was. We had a lot of herbs growing on our land. Like when you look around the site here, you're going to see trees. And one thing about the trees give off a lot of what we need. So I'm going to just bring 3 items out to share with you. If I got a cold or the flu, then this herb is called Life Everlasting, and it's spelt just like the sound of the word, Life Everlasting. You can Google it, and it's going to show you a plant that looks much like this. But this plant was gathered, boiled, screened, and given to us, and cold, flus, and coughs and stuff did not stand a chance with this, okay? Then, being here on Hilton Head, they call it the country. During the summer months, we went barefoot a lot, and walking to the dew, sometimes it will cause us to get dew balls, which would be a blister on your foot or your ankle. And so eventually then you would have a sore. So what our grandmothers and mom and dad did, they would take a handful of gumballs, and if you notice, the name of this road is Gumtree Road. Well, we do have a lot of gum trees on this road, and the gum trees produce the gum balls. So what they would do, they would let these balls get dry. They are not friendly to your feet if you're barefoot. If they're dry, they will prick your feet. But they will get a bunch of these, and they would burn it. They would take the ashes and put it on our blisters or sores, and it would promote healing, okay? The other thing is that I want to share with you is moss. Plain old Spanish moss. Spanish moss are very friendly. They wave at you all the time. They're still waving today when you pass by. But this to us was a medicine. So if we felt a little bit dizzy or it felt like our blood pressure had elevated, they would tell you get a handful of moss, put it in your shoes, walk around with the moss in your shoes for 3 days, and that your blood pressure would be back to normal. And I can tell you it works. So these are just some of the many, many items that I have to share with you. I know you probably have questions. Well, if you have questions, you can email me. My email address is very, very simple. It's hhistoryteller@aol.com. Okay? Now the HHI, that's just the abbreviation for Hilton Head Island Storyteller. Back then, when I made up that email address, I did not know that I was the storyteller, but it just happened to be. Okay, if you want to call me, the number is 843-681-3254. So we'll be able to entertain guests and visitors and school students back on the Gullah Museum site. But this is a very interesting site on Hilton Head Island, and it's going to get better. So what I'm going to leave with you today is a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. And I'm going to read it to you because I don't want to missay what he said. But this is words of wisdom from Dr. King. He said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And that's what we intend to do at the Gullah Museum on Hilton Head Island. Thank you so very much for your time. I really enjoy sharing some of the history with you today. God bless you.